Okay, I think we've got everything together now. I think we're good. We have to switch this one's bag. We're still in the old bag on this one. Alrighty, it is Sunday. It is needle felting day. For those that are new here, we are needle felting along with Bob Ross. I thought I just typed this. We are following along with his season 3 of Joy of Painting tutorials. We are currently up to episode 12. We're almost done the season, finally. And there is the link to the tutorial in full. We're going to go ahead and pin that to the chat, because we spend a lot of the time with the tutorial muted and still down in the bottom corner, because it takes me a while to get through each phase of this. So as you can see, we are 4 sessions in on this guy, and we are very much not very far. I don't know if we're going to need to fluff some more aubergine here. We will eventually, but alright, so we've got our project, we've got our mat that's becoming very colorful. It happens. Almost snapped the needle just getting it out of the holder. That's good. Alright. Oh, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Hope you are having a good day.
Should I react to that message here?
I'll see. I'm not on Twitter a whole lot, but I'll see. I'll think about it. I'm selective on who I follow back, for the most part. But thank you for the follow here. Not yet.
They've literally already left.
Yeah, I never actually saw them in the chat.
Yeah, it's a spam bot here. That's good.
Give me 1 second before I make a decision on that. I want to see something. Because if this is advertisement for a graphic artist... Though I don't see where you followed me on Twitter, unless you unfollowed me that fast. Oh, now it updated. VTuber designer. Yeah, I don't need any artwork done, but thanks. That's up to you, dear. Alright, so anyway, getting back into what we were doing, we are working on our tree line. That's where we left off. I'd like to get to know people at least a little bit before we get into all that. There was a time when I would just be like, oh, you followed me, I'll follow you, but I'm a bit more selective nowadays in who I follow back. Sorry. I'd at least like to have some interaction with you and get to know you first, but I don't need any art designs, guys. I think 2/3 of my followers on Twitter right now are all graphic designers and VTube designers. I'm good. I'm happy with where things are at the moment. Husband is doing the art for my channel and my emotes and stuff, so we're good. Thanks. If that changes, I will reach out to someone. But at the moment, I'm good. Thanks. So we're working on our tree line here. We're using some dark aubergine for our further back trees. And it should probably be a little bit lighter, but we had to go a little outside the box on this one. We're still following the layout of Bob's. But we'll see. Husband is still working on the edit for episode 10. I'm trying to work on episode 11. We haven't had a whole lot of time recently to work on video edit though. So I do apologize that that's not out yet. But we are trying to get that done. So I'm just kind of making like teardrop shapes here, or like little stalagmite shapes to get our foothill trees in here. As we work on getting this block of color in. That one was a little straighter than I was really going for, but all trees are not identical, so it's all good. We have to be a little bit careful here because it's pretty thick fluff-wise. Plus we are working on the thicker piece of felt that I wanted to try. So we're working on the thick boy, not the thin one. Alright, and this is just a little bit of water, it's nothing special. Just gonna grab a dab of that. It just kind of helps get the fibers a little bit more pulled in, a little bit tighter. So they're not quite also all over the place. we could have made that row a little bit closer. Oh, he's crooked. That's a crooked tree. Oh well. I'm not too worried about the gaps in between them because we're going to have another row of tree sitting on top of that. We're going to have a few rows of trees in here. If we can swing it. And don't forget to pull your project up off your mat every so often. You might not need to if you're using a foam mat. You might not need to do it that much. I do highly recommend it often on the wool and felting mats though. As I think that would make your life a little bit easier. Okay. Oh, that tree got a little skinny at the top there. Ah, fiber. I'm trying to figure out what the heck it's gonna do. Alright, that tree looks like it's flipping us off, so let's grab a little bit more fuzz and see if we can't fix that a little bit. See, that's a little bit further than I want to go. And we ran to the food pantry last night to drop off a couple extra bags of chips that I had picked up on clearance because there's no way I'm going to eat all these with how slow I am eating the one bag I opened. So on our way there we heard some sirens, and then we heard some dogs starting to howl, and we froze for a second because we're like, dog or coyote? And husband's like, So we walked down, and he's like, dog? So we weren't real sure. There was a couple higher pitch, tones in there. And we dropped off the stuff. It was like midnight. And we walked back. And when we were coming back, all of a sudden we heard a whole bunch of howling and yipping. And we were like, the fuck? Because it was pretty loud and pretty close. And we've not heard them that close before. We usually hear them in the distance, like out by the cattle farm. Ooh, that's why we have finger protectors on. Just stabbed the finger protector. My aim is not the greatest on a good day. And like I had goosebumps from my jaw down to my one leg painfully. I was like fucking, the second I heard the noise, it made my blood run cold. I'm like, we've not heard this sound at this time of night when we've walked down here to drop stuff off before. This close. We had no walking sticks or anything. I had a plastic bag that I was hoping I could shake or something to terrify them with the noise. And we were very much on edge the entire rest of our walk home. We think they might have been, I was like, did they kill something? And he goes, I don't know, that sounded more like bickering than them having caught something. So we don't know if they were trying to get in the dumpster at the arsenic that's right here, or what that was about. I didn't see any posts about it on any of the Facebook pages this morning either, and I'm like, there's no way nobody else heard this. No way. We kept looking, we never saw them, which I thought was kind of strange. I was expecting to see one of them like come running from that particular area. Didn't see anything. That upper section was a little thinner than I wanted it to be. Alright. We're working our way across. Slowly but surely. Cat fur. Don't know how we got cat fur in our fluff, but we did. I mean, we have 5 cats, so that's not that far-fetched of something like that happening, but I feel like we've gotten a little carried away with our tree heights here. We need to bring that down a little bit. Alright. Just a skosh. Like we got a little out of control here. So we're gonna take these all the way across. Bob didn't take his all the way to the edge there, but we're gonna. That one was very, very short there. Feast or famine with the height of our trees. Sometimes we're super tall, and sometimes we are not. The question is it gonna bother me? The height of that one kinda is. maybe we can just fill that in just a little bit. And that's the good thing about fluff. You can always add more onto it. Here, let's get a little bit more than that. I mean, we're kind of covering up our mountain there. Don't want to get too carried away. Like we started to get a little short across the bottom here, so I think we might need to grab some more fluff and even that out a bit. Okay, that guy's a little crooked, but you know what? That's alright. That's okay. Now you don't have to use the water, it just helps my hands get a little bit more friction on them to tighten up our fluff just a little bit. I want to make sure we've got a good band of purple across the bottom, or the shade of purple. Its own shade of purple, same shade as this row of trees, filled in across the bottom. And I actually think I might need to add a little bit more of that. Because the other row of tree, like to fill in the gaps between them. So that might be something we have to go back and fix here. So for anybody that's new here, I live on a busy road. And there's road traffic noises. That is just the way it goes. Alright, so that's gonna go there. And I need to find my needle here. Tried to roll away on us. Now I've seen some people where they will do something that's not entirely 3D, but 3D-esque. Maybe it's kind of, well, they'll have it where it's like bumped up off of their base fabric, and that's kind of fun. I think that would involve needle felting your shape a bit before you actually start attaching it down. more than likely. So we will get this popped into here. Yeah, I actually really wanted to start a lot sooner than we did today. But life. I way overslept. I woke up at almost 6 a.m. and I was like, oh no, it's way too soon to be up. I had to go to the bathroom. And then I was trying to math in my head how long I had been asleep, and I don't think I had fallen asleep till almost 2:30, so I'm like, oh no. The husband has arrived. His chair has announced his arrival. Like, I know they're trees, and they should probably have a little bit of airiness to them, but I don't want that much airiness in there. At least not in that spot. And like I was saying earlier, if you're not happy with that particular bit of fluff the way it went in, grab another piece and just kind of fill in the area that you're not happy with how it laid in. You can do that, just like you'd add more paint on top. Alright, so I tend to like to brush down the back. You don't have to necessarily, it's just something I like to do. I find it helps the front sit a little bit better. So we're gonna have another row of trees, but I need to bring this purple down a little bit further. Not a whole lot. I kind of misjudged where I was placing that. Not that big of a surprise. Hi, Momo. What's the matter? Hi. Why is your brother in your bed? What's up? I can't give you grass time right now. You have to go talk to Daddy. I don't know what Daddy's doing.
I know. Take him out.
He peed for me, but he was desperately hunting for grass and trying to pretend that he was looking for a place to pee. Because he's Momo.
Okay, Belly. Come on, Zuzu. I'll give you guys rest time. Okay?
Come on, Zuzu, because Mommy can't take you 10 seconds later after you change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Mom's is in the middle of something.
Mommy, that was your first mistake.
I know, I'm not allowed to be in the middle of anything. Lady's not allowed to do nothing. Except be at our beck and call.
Zuzu,
Come on, Zeus. Let's go. Come on.
come on, grass.
Zuzu, come.
Grass time. Come.
Come on. Zuzu, come on. You're going to shut the door and he's going to walk over to it. And be like, wait a minute, what am I missing?
Okay, well, we'll just have to chill then.
Zuzu, you're such an ass. He's like, no, I'm not going outside. He's gonna go outside with Momo, and then Zuzu's gonna beeline to the front door. And look out the door. And start being upset. Because he's not outside. And he's missing out. Although, both of them might be hurting a little bit today. They're old puppers. And They're saying we might get some showers later, and then tomorrow they're saying might be an impact day for us for weather, for showers and thunderstorms. We'll see if that actually comes to pass. As I don't really know. They've been saying a lot of stuff lately. Oh, I know this. Sorry, I'm listening to music in the background. You guys can't hear it, and I do apologize for that, but I think I'd get in trouble for what I'm listening to if you all started hearing it on stream. And I can't afford for any parts of the stream to be muted because we archive this over on the YouTube channel. Seriously? Oh no. Where did it go? Did I drop it? I might have. Hope not. We got it. I am a fumble fingers most of the time. We've got some flowers starting on our cucumber plants, which is exciting. Some of our endive is starting to grow. We're growing that for the pigs. They had a few leaves of that today. And they seemed very excited about that. Our butter lettuce for them is just starting to come up. So they've got a ways to go before they can feast on any of that fresh. We've got a couple of flowers on our pea plants. I'm not a fan of peas, but they are, and I'm like, okay. And we've got some grape tomatoes, I think, starting. Forgot to recharge my headphones. Which is always the way lately. It seems it doesn't help that they're in an awkward place to plug in. And I also have all kinds of bottles of paint on my desk. I'm like, no, I'm not done with this color. I don't want to put it away. Almost done with the tree portion of this color. Almost. So sometimes when you're fluffing, your yarn. You'll get like little strands that just don't want to pull apart. It happens. Don't stress it too much. You can still use them. I still use them where I'm able to. So, we're going to finish getting in this row of tree. And then I think I'm going to grab some more of this shade and just level that off a little bit. Bring it down just a little bit further before we start our next round of that. Just making sure I don't have any weird thin spots in there that are just glaringly not right. So, like, I would like to fix those now if they're a big problem. Gosh, we've got all of our vegetables growing in the front of our house instead of the back. So it's a little bit of an overgrown mess out there, or looks like an overgrown mess. Because I've got two things that are vining, right? In the planter boxes we have along our front porch. Like waiting for the city to flip out. We've grown cucumbers out there before and they've been fine about it. Or at least they haven't said anything. We also have morning glories starting to grow. Although we got these windflowers for our front planter box, and the picture on the flower seed envelope had the petal portion of the flowers being, I guess it was super zoomed in, so I thought it was going to be like the size of like nickels or quarters or something. No. They're like pinhead small flowers, and I'm like, I know it said you guys were short, which is what I wanted for this planter box, so it doesn't create a hazard pulling out of the driveway for us or our neighbor. But I didn't think you were micro-sized petals on here. So I was a little miffed about. So next year we'll have to put something different in there. I don't know what. I would kind of like to do Gerber daisies, but they can be a little bit tall. Need to try to find something shortish. Excuse me. Alright, now I know there's a little bit of thinness in there, but I think we're just gonna roll with it. We have to figure out, we're still a little bit from needing it, but we have to figure out what color we want to go with. Excuse me, allergies. For our dowel rod at the top, when we go to hang this guy. When we go to put our hanger on him. I mean, I have a shade of purple that we could use. The question is it going to be too much purple? Would we be better off with like a clean, crisp white? I don't know. That might not be a question that we're going to be able to answer anytime soon. That might have to wait until we are closer to being done here. I don't think I want to go with green. We could go with a brown, I guess. But I don't know. Like, I'm just worried of it going too far purple. Although, to be perfectly honest, we're probably past the point of no return on the purple. Because the top half of this is very purple heavy. If you couldn't tell already, we have our sketch up in the top corner. That's the one up in the left corner is the one that we did with our colored pencils when we were working out how we wanted to approach it. Although the purple's all in the top. So, I don't know, maybe we can find a rustic brown maybe to bring the brown at the bottom up to the top. Maybe that would be the better way to go there. I think I've got a rustic-y looking brown that we can use there. So we actually have 4 colors of tree to get in here. We have this dark aubergine. Then I think we have a tea rose. And then we have a pansy, and then we have a green that we need to work into there. So we definitely still have a ways to go. Now I'd put the tape on here to, in a half-hearted attempt to try to help me keep our edges straight. I didn't necessarily think it was going to do anything to keep our base felt from being pulled in and getting wonky. It was more to help me stick to my pen line. It's slightly off the edge of the pen line. Did you get that? And you know, I'm the person in the room that can't draw a straight line with a ruler, so it'll still be diagonal, because that's how we roll around here. I mean, anybody that was here yesterday when I was trying to measure out our canvas to get our placement figured out for our painting, which I'm still very proud of, by the way. I'm very proud of my little popcorny shapes. They actually look more like popcorn today now that they have dried and the colors have kind of blended together. So I am quite happy with this guy. And I'm thinking we might not outline the corn nibs in black pen after all. I might take some dark brown paint and do it. If I can find a brush that will work out for that. I think that's what we'll end up doing, because I think the black might be a little jarring on that. just a little bit. Alright, so I think we need like 2 more trees in here. Is what I'm kind of leaning towards. And these guys don't have to be perfectly straight. They can be a little crooked. Like, they shouldn't be sideways crooked, but they can be a little wobbly at the top. Like, that should be fine. Shouldn't be anything too off-putting by that. That's a section that wants to be a little bit tougher, so we're going to slow it down. Be a little more gentle. If you start hitting a lot of resistance, just slow down and maybe move your needle to a spot next to it, just so you don't snap the needle. Okay, so we'll pull that guy up. It's been a few minutes since we've checked on the back here. We're still looking pretty good. I am going to rotate our mat. It was suggested that we rotate the mat every so often. And you know, there's some decent thought behind that, so we don't put too much wear into any one particular spot. I think I need to clean those scissors. They feel a little sticky. I don't know why they feel a little sticky. I was using them to trim a mat on the dog the other day though, because they were small enough. I needed a delicate pair of scissors to get that particular mat off of the Momo. He's got this kind of fur that no matter how many times you brush it, within like 10 minutes it's all like separated itself again and kind of looks a little straggly, and then he likes to rub his head all over the sides of his bed, and then it rolls his fur into these little dreadlocky bits around his face. And then somehow I don't notice them till they've gotten to a point where I'm like, oh geez. I'm like, how, sir? How did you do this? He had a particularly nasty one near his eye the other day. I'm like, nope, we gotta gently get that off. Okay. So now I'm gonna get a little bit more fluff, and I'm gonna figure out where our next tree line is gonna sit, because where its butt gets planted is where I need to make sure we are filled in. So that the next bit of tree has some background to it. So, do we think that's down far enough? I don't know. That means these guys are going to be kind of short. I think that needs to come down a little bit further, actually. Now, just because I have an amount in my fluff bag, that doesn't mean that's all of that color I have. I do have the majority of the skeins of yarn left for all of my colors. I think white's the only one I'm a little bit low on, and I have another ball of white for when we fully run out of that. Okay, I think that is probably a good spot. To take that purple down to. Feel a little bit confident with that location there. Or that length of that. So we're gonna have to add a bit more going across here. So I'm just trying to make sure that that is in fact attached there. Okay. Bit of water. Not sure how I feel about using this thicker fluff yet. I think I'll have more of an opinion on that when we get further along here. And I know we've got that split there, that's fine. It's not going to be too big of a problem. Because we will just patch on over it. Whew, allergies so bad, the Benadryl's barely hanging on. keeping my drink as far away from the fluff as I can because it's an open top cup. Because we don't need to drink our fluff. I've been there, done that, had many a drink ruined by little fuzzies that somehow managed to float down into it. So I try to use my turvises, not sponsored. We're doing art at the very least. So let's have some, it's got the lids with the, or at least the one turvis, the other one's not a turvis. Got the little lid with the slidey latch on the top of it, so. Like, I don't understand the Stanley Cup craze, to be perfectly honest. I kind of think the Stanleys are a bit overpriced. I mean, my turvis one, the big one I got, I think was maybe 40 bucks. And that's probably the end limit that I would pay for that. But so far it's been very nice. We all got a turvis cup because they had a store when we were down in Key West. And I got a flamingo one. They had a couple. I really wanted to get a second one, but I wasn't sure if I was gonna like them, so I only got the one. But if they're still there when we go back, they do have this website I could order from, but if we go back, or when we go back, if they are still there, I might grab a second one. So that way I've got 2 teacups for winter. Okay, before we get too much further, let me grab some fluff and stuff here. And we will plop this guy over that spot that we didn't get any fluff into yet. And just like that, the sparse spot is gone. I do have another sparse spot right there. It's an SS. It's an SSF, a sparse spot of fluff.
Creak, creak.
What?
Creak, creak.
Oh yeah. Husband's shifting around in his chair.
It's on the short list when we get back.
Yeah. It sounds like it's gonna fucking collapse. That is several years old, I believe.
I'm pretty sure it's very, very old now.
I think my chair might be 2 years old. So I think your chair is probably minimum 5 years old, if not 7. Actually, it could in theory be a little bit older than that. Although I will say I'm a little disappointed at how wobbly my chair is for it only being 2 years old. It didn't feel that solid when we put it together. I mean, I did get it on clearance, but I guess there's a reason why it was on clearance. Alright, so let's see here. And here I am trying to eyeball a straight-ish somewhat straight-ish line going across here. Like, it can be a little crooked. We're gonna have layers of tree covering this. I'm just trying to cover my ass so that the spaces between our trees, if any spaces occur, we'll have some dark purple shadows to fill in the gaps. I'll say this felt does make my arm a little bit tired. So it is a little bit thicker to be stabbing through. I don't think I would like this if I was using the multi-needle handle. I'd either have some hella bitchin' arm muscles build up, or my arm would just be so totally exhausted, like a fraction of the way in. So we are using a small gauge needle. I don't know what gauge that is. I know some toolkits have a number assigned to their needle sizes. This one didn't. It just said size S on the tube. So I would love to give you an actual number, but I didn't see a number listed. All I know is that it's a small needle. And I know there are multi-needle handles. I have a multi-needle handle that can hold 8. I didn't really like it. I felt like I spent more time trying to get the spots that the multi-handle was missing. And it just kind of pissed me off because I felt like I was going over the same place so much more than if I had been going over it with the small one, with the singular. So that's just a personal preference, is really what that's going to come down to. Alright, so we'll get this guy to fill in where these two sections met up. Does look like I started to bring that up a little bit, so it's alright. I want to get this bottom filled in. I probably made these guys a little bit too tall. Probably should have brought them down a little bit further. But, you know, I'm not fixing it now. I'm not changing it. It doesn't really need to be fixed. I'm not adjusting it. That's the way our trees are going to be. And they definitely pushed our mountain back further. And we can still see parts of our mountain, so it's not like it's completely blocked everything out. Alright, so I'm gonna pop this guy up. And I'm just gonna give him a quick smooth down on the back. And you can kind of see our design on the back too. It's not bad. The front is where it's at though. The front is where everything is happening. So I'm looking at our tape, right, and it feels a little off, but that might be because I went slightly over the line and I went up against the edge of the tape. But that might be okay. Give me 1 second. I need to do a weather check because I saw some things that made me concerned earlier. Okay, so they haven't thrown us into any watches or warnings, so we're good. I wasn't sure. Some of those storms in Oklahoma looked a little scary. I was like, oh. But the section that might clip us later seems to be fizzling out already, and they're barely halfway through Oklahoma. They're like just coming past Oklahoma City, so we're probably not gonna have to deal with much of that. We are supposed to have storms tomorrow, which is mildly annoying. I don't know what day we're gonna have to go run errands. I don't know. We might be a few minutes late starting stream tomorrow if we decide to run them tomorrow. Kind of depends, I think, on how shitty the weather is gonna be. Because I really don't want to be dicking around in the parking lot of Sam's trying to fill up our cold bags if it's lightning. I mean, we could just bring them in with us. As long as we indicate we didn't buy them on this trip, they'll have us on camera walking in with them. We could just load them up after we get through the receipt checker. But we'd still have a good amount of stuff that wouldn't be bagged. I don't know. We'll have to see what the weather looks like in the morning. Because we've had plenty of weather reports lately where it's like, oh yeah, storms all day, storms, flooding. And in our particular area, I think we had like 2 showers that were brief. I'm not complaining. I don't want this severe weather. I don't want it to seem like it's that. I don't want bad weather. Especially after the tornadoes that ripped through the area just north of us. We got lucky. Because some of those suckers were packing quite the punch. We're almost done with this color. I just need to get a little bit more on there, because this section right here feels a little crooked. Not terribly so, but enough where I'm like, enough to be a bit noticeable. You can see the spots that I've missed the project and hit the tape by all the little tiny holes. This side's not so bad. I've got more holes up here. It's just masking tape. It's no fancy tape. That's what I had. Just masking tape from Dollar General. Okay. So we're gonna have to add a little bit more right in there, I think. So there's a sparse spot right there. Might not be coming up on camera, but you can see it in person. And I try to take care of those as soon as I'm able to. Hoping to get some editing done this week so I can at least get some more stuff situated. I don't know if how I'm gonna edit the Planet Zoo video from Friday. I don't know if I need to edit it. I might just double list it on two different, pay attention, on two different playlists. Stab the finger protector again. Didn't hit my finger inside of it, it kind of hit the seam on the side. I don't believe these are real leather, I think they're just like faux fakey leather. They have a slight plasticky feel to the outside of them. And considering it was in a cheap toolkit, I doubt it's real leather. Okay, so let's see here. That looks pretty good. Alright, so we're gonna grab the dark aubergine. I don't know why I have so much trouble saying that color, but I certainly seem to. Getting to the point now where I've got so many colors in on the section of wall. I have like a little clothesline system set up, like some string nailed to the wall, and then I've got my bags of fluff. I'm gonna have to start squeezing the air out of them so I can actually see what we're doing. Alright, so I need to refer back to our test sketch, reference sketch. Alright, so I have tea rose next. Oh, okay, so that's that color. Alrighty. So I haven't put any of the colors up back on the wall that we've used yet. So I'm not sure if I'm quite done with them. So like I said, this is going to be a little strange because he like did his tappy misty thingy in between the layers of trees. Then he like flicked up a little bit. So there's some white in there, plus with the magic white, liquid white, whatever it was that he used in there. It made this in between bit of tree quite a bit lighter in this row. Like, it's not actually a row of tree in this color, but I'm adding a row in this color just to kind of make up for a way to add that shade in. Because if I just slap it in there, it's gonna be very strange. Alright, that piece was a little bit... well, maybe it wasn't too big. Alright. I mean, technically, we could come down to about here. And we can remedy the unevenness that we're going to have show up down here with a strip going across, like we're gonna have to do anyway. So I'm just gonna kind of let this row figure itself out, I think. And I don't believe we've used this color yet. I don't think so. This is one of our newer... well, it's not a brand new color, but I think it's just a color we hadn't gotten around to using quite yet. Alright, so I'm just kind of taking this up to the bottom of our dark aubergine there. So, question is now, how much of this am I gonna need to bring across on this? For that is a grand question. And I'm not sure yet. So we've got this color. So we've got this color here. Then we have 2 more rows. So, my big question right here is, should I add another one like right up on our tape line, or should I leave that for the next row of purple? That's what I'm trying to figure out, so I'm kind of stuck in that corner down there because there's a slight gap between where these 2 colors are meeting up down in there. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do about that. I mean, full-ass simple solution would be to just... Oh, it's not so bad. Would be to just plop another bit of color on there. Alright, so thinking this guy's gonna hang out about here. See what we can pull off here as we get this next bit of tree popped into here. I was like, I don't want to get rid of our dark purple trees back there. That won't do. Like, we need those guys. We put them there for a reason. So if we've got these guys trying to come up in between those, then I think we'll do the pansy laying in between these guys. So I think it's pansy purple that's after this one. Oh no, it's lilac. Excuse me. We have lilac and then olive. We've got some green guys that we're gonna try to filter into the mix as well. So this is an interesting color as it's getting laid in. I think I do want to make a slight adjustment here though. The top of our tree got a little thinned out there. And I mean, that's fine. Trees are all different shapes and thicknesses, but for that exact spot, I'm feeling that one to be a little bit thicker. Not tremendously so, but a little bit. Okay. Getting this piece stretched out here. Like, not terribly stretched out, but you know, enough. And we'll work on filling this gap in here. Just a bit. Just so we have a little bit here filling in where we meet. Just so it's not a little too strange. Remember, if you're gonna like scrape or adjust, make sure you do surface scraping. Don't stab in and then try to move the needle to the side, because that will snap your needle. And that's no fun. Trust me, that's no fun. Especially if the nub of needle goes flying and then you have to try to find it. Especially when you have pets. You're in a panic of trying to find it. A, so it doesn't stab them or they don't get into it. And B, so it doesn't stab you. Alright. So this isn't a bad color. You can see the different shades of fluff, or maybe it's just the variation of the dye that they used to make this. It could just be different shades of fluff that they used, because there's like some real faint light pink in here. It's hard to see it, and maybe it's just the way the light's hitting it. But it looks like there might be a little bit of white mixed into it too, maybe, unless that's just the sheen on this. But as we're stabbing it in, some sections look a little more purple. And some areas look a little more pink. Could just be the way the light's playing off of it. Entirely possible. Alright. The heck are you? Don't know what that was. My needle keeps trying to roll off the desk. Yay for slanted floors. Kind of reminds me of like really fine carpet. Once we start getting everything all tapped in together. So see the spaces between the trees, that's kind of why I wanted to make sure that we had a little bit extra of our aubergine down, even though we are covering most of it. It's giving us a chance to get our layers worked out and figured out. Hi, littles. Meows. What?
Don't be surprised, Goon has changed their shell.
Really?
Yeah, now they're in one of the polished brown ones.
We're sure it's not Gigantor?
No, because I see Goon's old shell here.
Oh.
Yeah. They've been poking at it for a while, so.
Does Goon have food?
Yes, I'll have to replace it tonight.
We have 2 hermit crabs. We had 4, then we lost 2. Then we were down to 1. And we tried to get the one remaining a buddy, but either Petco or PetSmart said they're not carrying them anymore. I think it was Petco. And I'm not certain if PetSmart's gonna be carrying them anymore either, or if they just didn't have any when we got my mom her guinea pigs, because I think he checked into it. Okay. So this is going in pretty good here. We're getting those trees in the back pushed back further. And these guys look a little thin though, because you can see the dark aubergine trying to come through there, so I don't know what I want to do about that. Do I want to leave it? Or do I want to thicken those guys up a little bit? It wouldn't take much. Not really. But would it even really change how I'm feeling about it? Because that is a lot of fluff that we are getting into here. Because we're going to have another layer of tree over top of these guys. Kind of plopped in between them. Approximately. That's probably fine enough. More than likely. I mean, it might have helped marginally with that one. Let's see what we can do here. Okay. Oh, jeez. Spilled the water. Dropped the needle. That wasn't helpful at all. So I'm not 100% certain that that's gonna be how far down the T-rose comes. I'm kind of thinking it might need to come down a little bit further. Possibly. Just to make sure we've got enough in between clearance. For the other trees. I don't know. I mean, these guys feel thin, I guess. They feel thin. And that might be what's bothering me about them. They look thin. They don't look like they've eaten. Okay, that was a little wet. I didn't realize that I had spilt quite so much there. Like, not all of them look thin, but it might just be that the other shade is so dark that it's gonna take a little bit more. Well, we did spill a lot of water, didn't we? Might take a little more fluff to fill in the gaps. Maybe. Maybe just a teeny bit more. That's a little better, I think. But yeah, see, I'm like, well, okay, some of these are at the bottom, so I can't really think this needs to be a little bit longer. Like, not super longer, but a little bit. Like, that might be a little too long, even. Maybe. Just a slight fraction. Alright, that's probably where we're gonna take that to. Alright, because then we're gonna have that next shade of purple. We can sit that there, and then we can sit the green on there. Okay. See, I didn't put these lines in, and I probably should have thought about that. But at the same time, I was like, we can probably wing that. It's fine. No big deal. And it's not a huge deal. Like, not really. Just kind of mopping up that water that's spilled. Might as well. The desk is relatively clean. We wiped it down yesterday after we got paint everywhere, so the only thing it might pick up is some fuzzes from overnight. Just kind of lay this guy in on top of those two. So this is that lighter purple bit. Like I said earlier, he doesn't actually have a lighter row of purple trees in there. He's got this like faint purpley mist in there that there was no way I was gonna be able to pull off without it looking bizarre. So we're just gonna add a row of trees. To get this color in here. So that way we've got a little bit of separation. Might need to add another little bit there. extend this over. So far it's not. It's a little strange, but it's not terrible. Let's see how we go here. I'm just trying to get our ground evened back up with the rest of it to where we are with our trees. So we'll add this guy in here. Okay. So I think we can put that next tree in. Hopefully, I can get the husband to do some editing this week. I have to edit. Because I need him to finish the episode he's working on before I can put out the speed felt I'm doing. And I don't think I can take it from him mid-project. And he's halfway done, so I really don't want to start over on a project he's halfway done editing. So he's working on the speed felt, or trying to work on the speed felt for episode 10 that we followed along with. I've started the edit on episode 11. I'm probably not going to get any editing done tonight. If I do, it might only be like a half an hour. So we have game night with my mom. Where we are going to do Uno and Scrabble tonight. Oh, that's way too much. Way too much fluff on that one. So I'm just kind of making a fluff snake to make these trees. And you know, it's a little uneven, but you can see one end's a little bit pointier than the other. So the end that's not as pointy, I'm going to grab the bottom of it and fold it up. And then just kind of position our tree. Tap in the rounded bottom section. at least that's the idea. Whether it manages to work out that way or not is something else, but that ended up being a very skinny tree, didn't it? My goodness. That fella there. Needs a little bit of help. See if we can fill him out a little bit more there. It happens. And it's fixable. So we can just slap a little bit more fluff over top. Now this in here is not really going to be seen that much because it is going in a different direction than the other trees up here. So do keep that in mind because then we're going to have another layer of trees. You'll see a little bit of it, but probably not very much. Okay. So we're just gonna work on getting our purple, our lighter purple trees, their base popped into here. Did I go too low? Maybe, because I still have another 2 rows to get in here. We might have gone a little too low. It's alright. We can overlap the next row of tree up a little bit higher. It'll be alright. Not a tremendously huge deal. I think the husband got in the shower. I can hear Little mournfully meowing her head off. But if I open the bathroom door, she won't go in. She'll be like, oh, the water's running in there. No thanks, I'm good. 'Cause that's how Little Bits tends to roll. Now you don't have to roll fluff snakes, I just do. I find it makes it a little bit easier to work with. That's more of a personal preference. If you would rather just use your bit of fluff straight out of your fluff container, you do what you're comfy with. By all means. Whatever is gonna make you happy. Alright, so get this guy. Lay it all into here. What time is it anyway? Okay. So we have about 50 minutes left today. Roughly. Oh, time for stretches. For sure. Do all of the stretchies. And I have to get a drink here. Give me 1 second. So, oh, that's for tomorrow. Okay. I was gonna say, Windows 11. Why are you telling me it's gonna pour all day today when it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it hasn't rained yet? I think you're drunk, but it says for tomorrow. You're like, alright, fine then. Maybe we don't want to go to Sam's tomorrow. We need to go to Sam's though. We're almost out of water. So yeah, stream might be a little late tomorrow. Sorry ahead of time if it is. Alrighty. Yeah, so then we'll lay in we'll do a thin strip of the next purple. I won't make it quite so deep. And then we'll lay that in between these guys just to close the gap a little bit. And then that should give us enough room to get our ground in. Because we've got some ground around our pond here. These guys look so much tighter, and then boom. What the heck happened here? I don't know. Something did. Your guess is as good as mine. Okay. So I'm just gonna widen that guy out a little. Now I might need to add a little bit more fluff and stuff just to help fill out this particular one. We will see. How we do here. Yeah, we're gonna have to thicken this guy up just a little bit. Kind of thinking that was what was gonna happen. But you didn't finish stabbing in the first layer. It's fine. Like, I already saw which way it was gonna... which way the fluff was gonna settle, so... it's alright with adding a little bit more on there. So, like, this is the fast part. Adding the trees in. It's when we go back and add in the ground bits that things get a little more time consuming. This side needed a little bit more thickening up as well. And that's okay. It's just fluff, it's not unadjustable. It's not like we're working with epoxy resin here where we're screwed if it doesn't quite sit right. So we're good. Alright. Now this guy lay into here. As best as we can. Now I am overlapping the fluff a little bit. Try not to do it too terribly, like overly, excessively overlapped, but it does help with any weird, like, seams and thin spots appearing, so it doesn't look quite so... it's not showing how piecemealed together it is, basically. Like, yeah, we're piecemealing it, but by overlapping it, it doesn't look like it as much. Now we are going to have some trees sitting over top of that. Do I want to... that is a little bit thin in there. I will say that. Sometimes you don't get as many thin spots, sometimes you do. Kind of depends on the fiber you're using at that moment. Okay. So I still have a little bit of a gap, like right in through here. We'll see what the next tree does. It might not be that big of a thing. Need to refill my water, but we might just try to make do with that. Alright, that's a little thicker. Now watch, now it'll be too thin. It felt a little too thick for me. Yeah, now this one feels a little too thin. Yeah, that's gonna be... I should have just left it alone. Alright, maybe we just pull off that much. Let's see what that gets us. Alright, that might not be so bad. Alright. If we kind of lay you in there and tack down the bottom, and we kind of work on shaping out the top. Let me just kind of work on getting the rest of this guy shaped into place. I know he looks like a hot mess at the moment, but you just kind of have to see things through. See which way the fluff's gonna fly, how it's gonna settle. Alright. That's actually not half bad. Kind of got that guy worked into some semblance of behaving here. Here, I'm gonna turn him for just a minute just so I can get a better look at him. So you can see where our layer of trees is pushing back, or the back layer of trees pushed back the mountain, right? And then this layer of trees is pushing this layer back. Now the final stand of trees here, the final color, the olive, will probably be a little bit tighter just to fill in the gaps a bit more on its particular row as we get there. But I mean, it looks a little strange with the lighter purple in there right now, I get that. So we'll see if we can bring it around. We still have a ways to go here. And you know, sometimes we can translate what Bob's done with paint a little bit better than others. Sorry, I'm just stretching my legs out for a minute. So I'm leaned back just a bit. I'm stretching my back and my leggies here. Now, if you wanted these to be a bit more 3D, you could you could pre-stab your tree shapes before going and adding it. We didn't do that on this one. We might do that on one maybe down the road. We'll see. Right now my brain is consumed with trying to figure out making my own bead curtain. I don't see them around, and I know they can get pretty pricey. But it's one thing I've never really seen at any of the craft fairs, and it's probably because they can get pretty pricey depending on what you're using. But I would almost need to get, like, I don't really have room to work on it here though, that's the problem. Like, I'd need a elongated table so that I can lay everything out on it, because we have paper that's long enough that I could stretch out onto the table to plan the design. Like, that part's not so much of an issue. I think we had a longer table at one point, because, like, I need to lay things out, or I need a heck ton of graph paper. I'm trying to figure out how I could do this digitally. But then I would need to I don't know if that I can. I guess I could always take the paper and just put it up against the wall. But then I'm standing for a very long time, which might be difficult, which is why I wanted to do it on the table. But I also have to price out beads. That's the big thing, is figuring that price point out, and they would take a while to make, because especially if I'm doing wooden beads and I'm hand painting it. Let's see. Take the bottom piece to about here. I mean, we haven't done so bad today, because we only had a couple of the dark purple trees put in. So we got we got the dark purple finished up. And I don't necessarily know that we're gonna finish this shade of purple. Before I have to go run and make dinner I have to make guinea pig dinner, and then I have to make dinner for myself and my mom. I'm not entirely sure what we're having tonight. I think I know what I would like to have. But we'll see if that ends up happening. Oh, that got super skinny there at the very top. Ah, that's alright. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Alright, so I'm gonna... we haven't done this in a little bit. I find it gives us a little bit more of an even layering on the front. So it's not so bad. Alright, so next bit of fluff and stuff. I probably came up a little bit higher than I necessarily wanted to. With the strand, or the shade. Okay, so that's not quite filled in. What was that? Hold on, you guys. Sounded like something fell. And I don't know what. Let's see what the noise was. But that was strange. Sorry about that. This is a very bright purple, isn't it? Beginning to question my decision about going with so light of a purple. It was very bright. Very bright. Kind of hoping that it doesn't backfire on us. I mean, it looked okay on paper, but the colored pencils I have aren't exactly the same shade as our fluff. I mean, I try to get shades that are close so we can get a better idea of how everything's gonna look against each other. So that's why I do those reference layout sketches, so I can decide if we're moving in the right direction or not, basically. And sometimes I have changed my mind on colors, because we can't just, you know, add some more liquid white, magic white, whatever it's being referred to as in the moment. I guess it's liquid white. Pretty sure I've seen it referred in both ways. So I've got many a shade of yarn. Like I said before, I think I have between 60 and 75 shades of yarn on the fluff wall that I have been slowly accumulating since we started this journey. And I haven't had to restock any color yet, which is kind of amazing to my brain. I'm like, really? So we do actually get a fair amount of mileage out of our balls of yarn. Believe it or not. Oh, let's not snap the needle on the microphone. That won't be doing anybody any good whatsoever. Yeah, we won't finish this row of tree. We'll finish it tomorrow, more than likely. I doubt we'll be canceling tomorrow. We just might be starting a little late. The only reason we would full out cancel tomorrow is if the power goes out. Or I have a migraine, really. Okay. So we'll get this worked into here. And we'll need to add a little bit, oh, get that out of there. My hair need not be in the way. Oh wow. They issued a tornado watch for the, is that the panhandle of Texas? Is that what they consider that? Where like Amarillo and everything is? And there's a severe thunderstorm watch in the middle of Oklahoma. I'm curious as to why they decided to issue the tornado watch, because it doesn't look like there's anything there unless it's going to develop. We're not in anything yet. It certainly looks like it wants to do something outside. And my bones ache. My joints ache. Like we're gonna get something here. We haven't yet today, but I will not be surprised if it does happen. I'll be more surprised if it doesn't. So my spine joints, my vertebrae, they're starting to burn a bit. Scoliosis probably ain't helping with that, but that's getting a little uncomfy. Alright, this is actually, am I down enough over here? I feel like I'm not. I am definitely not. We could just let it be. But it's my brain, and I know my brain is gonna be like, yeah, no, what we're not gonna do. Like, it's not that we need to add all that much more to it. don't have to add too much more to even it out just a bit. But I also feel like we could come through here and probably clean that up a little bit. This is why I like putting guidelines in, so I don't royally fuck shit up too much. I mean, we could, in theory, clean that row up with the next color coming in. Oh, no. Shit. Oh, no. Oh, that was my elbow. That was me elbow. Alright. So my chair is trying to roll backwards on me. Alright, that's not too bad. We've got a section in the middle here that feels slightly high. But I think we might decide to just leave that be. Because it's not... Okay, that is pretty noticeable. Alright, let's see if we add you to here. Take you across to there. I mean, I'm probably agonizing over something that's not going to matter when we get the next row of trees in anyway. We will more than likely get it evened out with that. Yeah, that's probably fine there. Alright, so I'm all out of fluff that I pulled out, and I can pull out more, but I think we're at a good pause point today. So I think we'll stop there. All these trees look like they're flipping us off, don't they? They kind of look like it. And then we've got our lilac to tone things back down a little bit for the next row. But I think we'll stop there for today. 'Cause I'm getting hungry and the joints are getting achy. But we got a good 2.5 hours in. So we should be back tomorrow, migraine permitting. We might, like I said earlier, start a few minutes late, depending on if we run to Sam's to do some grocery shopping. We'll see what tomorrow's looking like weather-wise, and if that's feasible or not. So I will see everyone tomorrow, hopefully at some point. Some point tomorrow. So I thank everybody for hanging out with me this afternoon. I do greatly appreciate that. There should be links to the socially things down below somewhere, to the Ko-fi, the Instagram, the X, Twitter, and the YouTube page. I hope everybody has a good night and a fairly easy start to their work week. And until next time, you guys, have a good one.